Well, today is Wednesday, so therefore that means we must be on the problem part of the story. Remember, this is the part of the story where at the beginning not really much is happening, but then by the end of the problem part, the two characters have got a fairly big problem to solve. So let's start off. As I said, at first nothing exciting is happening, and then during the problem part the paragraph will just build up the tension. So we'll start off just by saying that David and Jane are walking by the river. So David and Jane were walking by the river. Okay, so very simple sentence. Now what I want to do, just move the camera a bit, what I want to do is if the readers will be a bit puzzled by this, then well, the readers should be a bit puzzled by this because they know that David and Jane don't really like each other. So I should explain in the next sentence. So this was very strange for two reasons. Okay, this was strange for two reasons. Firstly, Jane hated the river. Full stop. So firstly, Jane hated the river. And the second reason, so secondly, as well, oops, seems to be a problem there with the spelling, there we go. So secondly, as well as this, comma, she also hated her younger brother. So that explains why, that explains the first sentence. David and Jane were walking by the river, but that's a bit odd. And then the next two sentences go to, next three sentences go to explain that. Now, I think at this point, we will introduce some speech. So, as you know, with speech, you always start on a new line. So, we will open speech marks, and to continue the idea that Jane really doesn't want to be where she wants to be, she will say something pretty nasty to her brother, something like, I don't know. I don't see why I should have to walk with you. I don't see why I have to walk along this stupid river, because remember, she doesn't like the river. So I don't see why I have to walk along this stupid river with my stupid brother. So that's pretty pardon me, that's pretty nasty, that's pretty insulting. So now, as we know, this is the spoken clause. Let me just highlight it for you there. So that's the spoken clause, and as we know, at the end of the spoken clause we must have some kind of punctuation, and because the spoken clause is first, then the punctuation in this case is a comma. I don't see why I have to walk along this stupid oh, I've just realised that I've missed out the word river. I hope you saw that. There we go. You didn't tell me, did you? Let's try this again. I don't see why I have to walk along this stupid river with my stupid brother. That's better. Okay. Stupid brother. And then there's a comma. Then there is the close speech marks. Now remember, when you put the closed speech marks, this must be after the comma. Okay, so there is the comma, and then the closed speech marks go after. I don't see why I have to walk along this stupid river with my stupid brother. Said Jane. We can use said. That is, you know, it's not a terrible word to use, but let's say, let's make her really show her annoyance. So said Jane, throwing a stone, into the river, R-I-E. And that kind of just shows that she's annoyed, and it shows her aggression. But we've already used the word river once. Now, it's not a big problem to use it again, but if we can avoid using it, then we will do. So what we've got to do is we've got to make sure that the reader understands that the stone is being thrown into the river. So we could put into the water, or we could make that a little bit better by saying the flowing water, just in case they thought it might have been a puddle or something. I don't know. Or even better than that, we could add the word fast, the adjective fast. So therefore it's now the fast flowing water. And this, once again, it brings the reader back to something that they read earlier when they were told that the river was quite dangerous. Okay, now the next sentence, what I want to do is to explain why Jane has to be walking with her brother, because really, given the choice, she wouldn't want to. So therefore, we need to explain that now. So Jane, well, the sentence is that Jane had been told by her mum that she's got to go, that the brother and sister have got to go shop. Well, the brother has got to go shopping to go and buy something, but he is not allowed to go on his own because he's too young. So therefore, Jane, his older sister, has got to go with her. So, and their mum told them that. So Jane was told by her mum that she had to go to their shops, with her younger brother because he wasn't allowed to go on his own. So that's quite annoying for Jane, but on the other hand, it's quite funny because without her, he wouldn't be able to go to the shops. So this sentence, see, once again, I'm always saying that once you've written a sentence, if you want to edit it, then you can do. And we've got a subordinate clause here, just down at the bottom there. So that subordinate clause, what we can do is we can put that at the beginning of the sentence, and that way we can make it much better, because it's always better if you have got a subordinate clause there. It's always better if you put it at the beginning. So now I can do this on my laptop very easily. So right, let's try that again. So put that just there. So the beginning of the sentence is now, because, capital letter, because he wasn't allowed to go on his own, comma, Jane was told by her mum that she had to go to the shops with her younger brother. And we don't want the rest of that because that's there. And full stop. Right, now I've done a lot of messing around with that sentence, so just make sure that it's correct. Because he wasn't allowed to go on his own, comma, Jane was told by her mum that she had to go to the shops. The the shops with her younger brother. And although I'm not going to write any more sentences now, but I could write a couple of sentences talking about them going along the river, and then at a certain point they, because they always have to go from one side of the river to the other, they've got a little boat, so they're going to get into their boat, cross the river, and then go to the shops. Now, the problem part of the paragraph will be that when they've been to the shops, they'll come back to the boat, or back to the part of the river where the boat should be, and, well, yes, you've guessed it, the boat's gone. And so then the problem is, well, where's the boat gone? So the final part of the paragraph would look a little bit, let me just move this so that it's up a bit there for you. Right, so after a few more sentences, we would probably have Jane shouting at her brother and saying something like, why didn't you tie the boat up properly? And because it's a question, we have a question at the end before the closed speech marks. So why didn't you tie the boat up properly? She, now she's not just going to say it, is she? She's going to yell. She yelled at her brother. And let's add a bit more to the reporting clause, who by now was feeling fairly upset. Upset. Okay. That is the end, boys and girls. That is the end of the problem paragraph. Remember, the problem paragraph always ends at that point where the characters are saying to themselves, oh my goodness, what are we going to do now? That's it. Okay, so that's the problem part of the paragraph written. Tomorrow we'll be writing the resolution, so we'll be working out how they solve this terrible problem that they've got.